Chapter 5469 pretended not to hear when the people waiting for the assessment heard that person's words. Their eyes immediately revealed fear. What? Let them go out to delay time? What was the difference between this and letting them go out to throw their lives away? Not to mention the giant ice wristband, even an ordinary star seal sea beast could easily kill them. If they went out, they would die. Altar Master Deng heard the words of a few stewards and was somewhat hesitant in his heart. If these people waiting for the assessment suffered heavy casualties, the profits of ascending Heaven Dock would definitely be greatly reduced. At that time, it was inevitable that the higher-ups would be dissatisfied with him. He looked at the situation outside and sighed. Let's wait and see. It's better not to sacrifice human lives if possible. When those candidates heard his words, their eyes revealed gratitude. They almost knelt down and kowtowed. Seeing Altar Master Deng's firm attitude, the stewards had no choice but to give up. They commanded the guards to release spirit beasts from the battlements reserved for the defensive array to attack the sea beasts. Altar Master Deng, on the other hand, released his spirit beasts to attack the giant ice wristband. No matter what, he just needed to distract it. The people of the Quenching Fire Workshop were arranged to defend the two battlements. One after another, they released their spirit beasts to attack the sea beasts. Hei Xinjiao secretly hid at the back. She had no choice. This fellow couldn't release Goei Batsao, right? Fortunately, everyone's attention was on the sea beasts outside, so no one noticed her. Moreover, there were countless spiritual beasts released, and no one knew who was who. The sea beasts basically had water spiritual roots, so the Quenching Fire Workshop really couldn't gain any advantage. Soon, a large number of demonic beasts approached the pass. Everyone was afraid and anxious. Fortunately, Manager Cheng of the nearby Clearwater Workshop saw that the situation was critical and sent some people over, which stabilized the situation. At this time, it was already around 2 o'clock in the morning. However, the sky was gloomy, and coupled with the roars of the sea beasts outside, it made people feel even more depressed. What made them even more desperate was that many moon seal sea beasts surged up. The previous giant ice wristband also became even more frantic. It even ignored the spirit beasts that were attacking it and kept hitting the protective shield with all its might. Dock Lord, we can't go on like this. Unless the tide receded tomorrow, there would be no way for reinforcements to come. However, if we let the giant ice wristband continue like this, our protective barrier wouldn't be able to last for long. Therefore, it was better to send some examinees out to attract those sea beasts, especially to divert the giant ice wristband's attention. I think we should let the latest batch of examinees out. After all, their cultivation is the lowest and they are not skilled in their work, said Manager Yu of the Thousandwood Workshop. Altar Master Deng did not hesitate this time and said, "Then let's do it." The two of them were not far from the battlements that Yun Chujiao and the others were guarding, so Shen Wu heard them clearly and was immediately scared to death. She subconsciously looked at Yun Chujiao and said with a trembling voice, "Cho Jiao, what should we do? We're going to die." Yun Chujiao blinked her eyes and said in a low voice, "The situation is so chaotic now, it's impossible to call out names one by one. We are concentrating on fighting against the demonic beasts, so it's normal that we can't hear the call." Shen Wu was stunned for a moment. Can this work? If we are found out, we will definitely be punished. Do you want to be punished or die? Yun Chujiao asked coldly. Shen Wu immediately stopped talking and secretly dragged Wei Ba along with Yun Chujiao into the crowd. The situation was indeed as Yun Chujiao had expected. The situation was urgent, so there was no time for roll call. Only a few stewards shouted for the new examinees to step out. Yun Chujiao and the other two acted as if they didn't hear anything. They hid in the crowd and worked hard to fight against the sea beasts. Chapter 5470 Performance. When the new examinees heard that they had to go out to attract the attention of the giant ice wristband, they were scared out of their wits. Some of them even collapsed to the ground on the spot. Of course, some of them were really scared out of their wits, while some of them were just pretending. They thought that they would be able to escape this disaster. Who would have thought that the few managers would immediately have the guards throw the few people who had collapsed outside the protective array? In almost an instant, those few people had become the food of the sea beasts. All of you behave yourselves. After you go out, as long as you don't split up, it's still not a problem for you to work together and hold on for 15 minutes. Once the time is up, we'll let you in to rest. If anyone tries to play tricks, they'll be courting death. Manager Yu said viciously. Those unlucky fellows knew that it was useless to say anything more, so they could only brace themselves and go out to attract the giant ice wristband. Although Altar Master Deng and the others did not care about the lives of these people, in order to delay for a period of time, they deployed a lot of guards to release spirit beasts to help these people block the attacks of the giant ice wristband and other sea beasts. Even so, 1/3 of the people who went out quickly died, but it really attracted the attention of the giant ice wristband from the defensive barrier. The people who left finally managed to hold on for 15 minutes and ran back desperately. However, they did not expect that the city gate had no intention of opening at all. Those people instantly fell into despair. They had been given up. They had no intention of letting them go back at all. What a vicious heart. However, what could they do? They could only desperately fight with those sea beasts. In the end, none of them survived. The sea beasts did not restrain themselves after eating those people. Instead, they became even more excited and attacked the protective barrier, and the number of sea beasts increased. Manager Yu's voice rang out again. Those who did not step out earlier, step out immediately. Otherwise, if I find them, I will kill them without mercy. Immediately, many people walked to the front with pale faces. Shen Wu's body could not help but tremble. She looked at Yun Chujio in fear. However, Yun Chujio acted as if she did not hear Manager Yu's words. She was extremely engrossed in her performance. Shen Wu gritted her teeth. She did not want to die. She did not want to become the food of those sea beasts. Therefore, she mimicked Yun Chujio and pretended that she did not hear Manager Yu's words. Wei Ba was the same. She pretended to be calm, but her heart was so nervous that it felt like it was about to jump out. At this moment, Ding was coincidentally squeezed near them by the crowd. Her eyes suddenly widened, and Shen Wu almost fainted from fright. Yun Chujio gave Dinger a look, and Dinger immediately understood. He knew that Yun Chujio was planning to stuff her mouth with food. Dinger immediately shifted his gaze to other places. Anyway, whether the three of them went out or not had nothing to do with her. The benefits were real. When Shen Wu saw that Dinger was no longer staring at them, she immediately heaved a sigh of relief. However, at this moment, Chen Liu's voice sounded, "Cho Jiao, what are the three of you still standing there for? Hurry up and step out." Chen Liu's voice was really not soft. Many people heard it, including Manager Yu. Shen Wu's legs went weak and she almost fell to the ground. Fortunately, Yun Chujio beside her held her. Shen Wu's mind was blank. It was over. She was dead for sure. Yun Chujio looked at the smug Chen Lu. With just a glance, Chen Lu felt as if he had fallen into an ice cellar. That was because it was a look that looked at a dead person. Chen Lu trembled for a moment. But when she thought about it, these three good-for-nothings would be sending themselves to their deaths if they went out. There was no possibility of them coming back alive. She immediately put her heart back into her stomach. Chapter 5471. I can delay for an hour. Manager Yu stared at Yun Chujio and the other two coldly. Why didn't you step out in time? Are you planning to get away with it? Shen Wu and Wei Ba were so scared that their faces were ashen. However, Yun Chujio said very naturally, the roars of the beasts outside were too loud, and we were too engrossed in it, so we didn't hear it. Manager Yu, we were wrong. We will use our actions to make up for our mistakes. We will do our best to attract the attention of the sea beasts. Manager Yu snorted coldly. If it were any other time, he would definitely punish these three pigs severely. However, now was the time to use people. Instead of killing them, it was better to let them go out and stall for time. Therefore, he snorted coldly and said, "Join in." Yun Chujio and the other two stood in the team. Manager Yu said the same thing as before, but everyone knew that it was a lie. As long as they went out, they would not be able to come back. Everyone was filled with despair. They did not want to die. They had ascended to increase their cultivation and prolong their lives, but now they were going to die in the mouth of the sea beast. It was a great irony. Some people wanted to resist, but there were a lot of guards in the heavenly dock, and their cultivation base was much higher than theirs. If they resisted, they would probably die faster than if they went out. Yun Chujio quickly thought of a solution. She definitely could not go out. If she went out, she would definitely die. But how could she not go out? The reason why the people of the heavenly dock sacrificed them was to stall for time. If she could successfully stall the sea beasts, she would not have to go out and die. Thinking of this, she raised her claws. Manager Yu, I have something to say. Manager Yu frowned. What do you want to say? Manager Yu felt that what Yun Chujio wanted to say was that she did not want to go out. Perhaps she wanted to bribe him with some benefits. She was really naive. If I had a way to stall the giant ice wristband for an hour, wouldn't we not have to go out? Yun Chujio said. Manager Yu was stunned at first, then he sneered, You really have a big mouth. Don't tell me you don't want to go out, so you just talk nonsense. If you say any more, I will kill you right now. Seeing him like this, Yun Chujio directly ran to Altar Master Deng's side and said, Altar Master, I can delay the giant ice wristband for an hour, can you let me try? Seeing that Yun Chujio actually went past him to find Altar Master Deng, Manager Yu immediately said sinisterly, Altar Master, this pig is just spouting nonsense because he doesn't want to go out. He's simply courting death. Yun Chujio said indifferently, If I can't escape death even if I spout nonsense, why should I do this? Altar Master, let me try. Anyway, even if we go out, we might not be able to hold on for an hour, right? Altar Master Deng stared at Yun Chujio for a few times and said, Okay, then he'll let you try. If you can't do it, he'll hand you over to Manager Yu for treatment. Yun Chujio nodded and then climbed up the city wall under the worried and expectant gazes of Xin Wu and Wei Ba. Hey, Octopus, come over here. I have something to say to you. Yun Chujio hooked her finger at the giant ice wristband that was patting the spiritual energy shield. Altar Master Deng and the others, Octopus? But that was also true. The essence of the giant ice wristband was really Octopus, the giant type. But would the giant ice wristband bother with her? The giant ice wristband was quite intelligent and much more cunning than the other sea beasts. Now, it should only want to break through the protective shield quickly. How could it bother with Chojio? Just as everyone expected, the giant ice wristband did not even look at Yun Chujio and continued to hit the protective shield. Manager Yu curled his lips contemptuously. He had said that this pig was playing tricks, but he wanted to see how she would end up. Chen Lu was also paying attention to the situation from the corner of her eyes. The worry in her heart had mostly disappeared at this moment. She had thought that this Chojio really had a way, but it turned out that she was just spouting nonsense. She was really courting death. Shen Wu, Wei Ba, and the other examinees had looks of anticipation on their faces. Their lives were tied to Yun Chujio, so they naturally hoped that she would have a miracle and really delay the giant ice wristband for an hour. Yun Chujio saw that the giant ice wristband was not paying attention to her, so she let the Goei Batsao release a hint of fragrance. Although it was just a hint, the giant ice wristband suddenly crawled towards Yun Chujio. Its huge eyes were filled with greed. However, when it crawled in front of Yun Chujio, it realized that it had lost the alluring fragrance. The giant ice wristband looked at Yun Chujio, who was facing it in the protective shield. When it saw her slightly provocative gaze, the giant ice wristband was suspicious. Could it be that the fragrance was related to this little ant? Octopus, I am so sweet and delicious. You must want to eat me, right? Yun Chujio asked with a smile. The reason why the giant ice wristband attacked the protective shield so hard was to eat people. Naturally, it wanted to eat her. Besides, no one had ever described themselves as sweet and delicious. However, they didn't know that in the eyes of the giant ice wristband, Yun Chujio's question meant that the little ant in front of them had admitted that she had something good that emitted fragrance. I think you should take a look at Snavel. Therefore, the giant ice wristband's 8 giant arms and legs struck the protective shield in unison, wanting to smash the protective shield and eat Yun Chujio immediately. Manager Yu's expression changed. Alter Master Deng, that pig is not good enough to do anything. Don't waste any more time. Let those pigs out immediately. When Alter Master Deng was hesitating, he heard Yun Chujio say to the giant ice wristband, "All right, I know you have a lot of hands. Stop slapping. Even if your cultivation is not low, you won't be able to open the protective shield for a while. How about this? I will give you a math question, and the answer range is from 1 to 8. If you can answer correctly, I will take the initiative to go out and give it to you to eat. If you answer incorrectly, it doesn't matter. I can give you 6 chances to answer the question. However, each time you answer the question, there will be a time interval of 100 breaths. Do you dare to agree? If you don't agree, it's fine. If worst comes to worst, I'll burn myself to ashes. You won't even be able to eat a fart." After saying this, the fellow felt that something was wrong. If that was the case, didn't it mean that she was calling herself fart? Giant ice wristband's huge eyeballs rolled around. If it refused, if this little ant really did that, it wouldn't be able to eat that good thing. When it thought of the fragrance it had smelled before, it felt like it was floating. If it had not smelled the fragrance before, it would not have come here. After all, humans were not too attractive to it, and it was not one of those low-level idiots. There was no harm in agreeing to it. After all, it would definitely not suffer any losses. The answer was between 1 and 8. It would be able to get it right even if it had to do it 6 times. Giant ice wristband looked at Yun Chujio contemptuously and stretched out one of its limbs to smack the protective shield, indicating that it had agreed. Humph, don't think that it didn't know that this little ant was just trying to stall for time, but so what? Perhaps it could answer correctly the first time. After all, it was the smartest sea beast. Alter Master Deng and the others were dumbfounded. Did the giant ice wristband really agree? Did it not know that Chojio was stalling for time? What the hell? Yun Chujio immediately laughed arrogantly. I didn't expect you to actually dare to agree. TSK, I'm the smartest person in the soaring dock. You definitely can't answer correctly. The giant ice wristband's eyes were filled with disdain. Even if it did not have as many tricks as humans, it could still calculate from 1 to 8. Yun Chujio bared her little white teeth and smiled brightly. Octopus, listen well. I'm going to give you a question. The eyes of the giant ice wristband were wide open as it waited confidently for Yun Chujio to give it a question. By the way, a few years ago, this ancient ice river was filled with boats. Before Yun Chujio could say anything, the giant ice wristband used one of its limbs to hit the protective barrier and growled contemptuously. The meaning was self-evident. What she said was not right, it was nonsense. Yun Chujio rolled her eyes. I'm just making a hypothesis. Do you understand? Don't interrupt me. Did you go back on your words? Do you think you're as stupid as a pig and can't answer my question? The giant ice wristband let out a few bellows of dissatisfaction and continued listening to Yun Chujio's question. By the way, a few years ago, there were boats everywhere in this ancient ice river, and there were boats that specialized in ferrying pedestrians. Listen carefully, we are about to get to the main point. Don't get distracted. Yun Chujio raised her voice and continued, there was a boatman on the boat at the beginning, and then there were 5 guests. At the first dock, 3 guests went down, 2 guests came up, and at the second dock, 2 guests went down, 5 guests came up, and at the third dock, at the 78th dock, 3 guests went down, and 2 guests came up. I think you should take a look at Snavel. The 8 limbs of the giant ice wristband were raised and lowered continuously because it had been using its limbs to calculate how many people were left on the ship. However, when it saw that Yun Chujio had already mentioned more than 100 docks, it immediately roared impatiently. Yun Chujio glanced at it and said, we have arrived at the 120th dock, which is also the last dock. The ship has reached the shore. Rho Alpha Pi Delta S Nu Omicron V Epsilon L. Commit was not difficult at all. Seeing this, Yun Chujio smiled brightly and said, then, may I ask how many people will be on the ship when it reaches the 79th dock? Giant ice wristband, it could not be played like this. Shouldn't you be asking how many people will be left at the end? Why did this little ant ask how many people will be left at the 79th dock? Treacherous. Too treacherous. No, it's shameless. Too shameless. The corners of Altar Master Deng and the other's eyes twitched. This Chojio was really too despicable. Not to mention the giant ice wristband, even they didn't know the answer to this damn question. After all, who could deliberately remember the number of people on the way? The 8 arms of the giant ice wristband were so angry that they hit the protective shield with all their might. They were really going too far. However, Yun Chujio did not care at all and said, "What? Are you giving up the right to answer the question?" Hearing this, the giant ice wristband's huge eyeballs rolled a few times. Since it would not be able to break the protective barrier in a short time, it might as well try to fool it a few times. Maybe it would be right. After thinking about it, it still raised its 6 limbs. Yun Chujio curled the corner of her mouth and slowly spat out a word, "Wrong." Just as the giant ice wristband was about to change its answer, Yun Chujio said, "Don't forget, every time you answer the question, there is a time interval of 100 breaths. Your answer now does not count." The giant ice wristband could only wait for 100 breaths of time, and then quickly raised 7 of its limbs. Yun Chujio shook her head and bared her white teeth. "Wrong." Another 100 breaths of time passed, and the giant ice wristband raised 5 limbs, but Yun Chujio still determined that it was the wrong answer. Soon, the giant ice wristband used up 6 chances, but was still told that the answer was wrong. Yun Chujio shook her head. "They told me that you're the smartest among the sea beasts, but I didn't expect that you couldn't even do such a simple addition and subtraction. It's really tsk, a long story. Even if you count with your fingers and don't count with your wrist, you should be able to figure it out." The giant ice wristband was so angry that it was twitching. It was clearly not its problem, okay? If it had known earlier that she was going to ask how many people were on the 79th dock, it would have answered correctly. "Are you very unwilling? How about this? I'll give you 2 more chances. However, the interval between these 2 chances will be at least 15 minutes. Do you dare to agree?" Yun Chujio said provocatively. Giant ice wristband pondered for a moment. The only answers it did not give were 1 and 2. It did not lose out no matter what, so it agreed. It immediately raised its 2 limbs. Yun Chujio shook her head. "Wrong." Giant ice wristband was not discouraged when it heard that, because there was only one answer left, and that was a person. "I think you should take a look at Snavel." Giant ice wristband was in a good mood because victory was about to be in its hands. That sweet and delicious good thing was about to be its. Finally, after 15 minutes, giant ice wristband hurriedly raised one of its limbs and looked at Yun Chujio proudly. Yun Chujio curled her lips. "Wrong." The giant ice wristband was so angry that it was dumbfounded. It had already said everything from 1 to 8, so how could it still be wrong? Yun Chujio sighed. "Octopus, to be honest, I don't know how many people are left at the 79th dock, so I don't know if your answer is correct. Sigh, I'm also very helpless. After all, I'm also very tired after coming up with such a long question." Giant ice wristband, it finally realized that it had been tricked. Giant ice wristband used its 8 limbs to hit the protective shield desperately, but Yun Chujio ran down the city wall with a smile on her face. It had been almost 2 hours, not to mention an hour. She definitely did not need to go out to be cannon fodder anymore. Altar Master Deng looked at Yun Chujio with a complicated expression. This Chojio actually managed to delay the giant ice wristband for almost 2 hours just by showing off? Was she too smart or was the giant ice wristband too stupid? "Altar Master, I have completed the mission. Can I go back to the battlements to defend?" Yun Chujio asked with a faint smile. Altar Master Deng was about to nod when Manager Yu said coldly, "Although you've delayed for a while, you've also angered the giant ice wristband. Therefore, why don't you go out and appease the anger of the giant ice wristband? Maybe it will give up attacking the ascending heaven dock after eating you." Yun Chujio turned her head to look at Manager Yu with a hint of murderous intent in her eyes. She was very calm towards these managers. This ascending heaven dock was not solely targeting her. Moreover, her cultivation level was low now, so there was no need for her to compete with them. She did not even plan to do anything to Chen Lu, but she did not expect these two to treat her as a non-biting kitten. Especially when Manager Yu targeted her again and again. He was really courting death. Wasn't it good to be alive? He was forcing a cat into a tiger. However, the killing intent in her eyes was quickly restrained, so fast that no one noticed it. She didn't say anything but waited for Altar Master Deng's reply. Altar Master Deng frowned. If he immediately sent Ugly 9 out to die, this kind of action might make the candidates' hearts turn cold. It was really not a wise move. Rho Alpha Pi D Alpha S Nu Omicron V Epsilon L. Anyway, Cho Jio could not run away. If it was really not possible, he would just let her go out again. Therefore, he said, since you have completed the mission, go back and defend first. Yun Chujio bowed and ran to the team of the quenching workshop, continuing to make up the numbers. She could feel Manager Yu's cold gaze falling on her from time to time. He would probably think of a way to push her out as a scapegoat soon. She had to think of a countermeasure. I think you should take a look at Snavel. Shen Wu and Wei Ba were naturally very grateful to Yun Chujio. If she had not successfully fooled the giant ice wristband, they would have died a long time ago. Therefore, the two of them squeezed to Yun Chujio's side. Although they did not speak, their eyes were full of gratitude. However, the two of them also knew that the crisis was not over yet. Unless the situation was under control, they would definitely send them out to die. Chen Lu, however, felt a little uneasy. She had known that this ugly ghost had many ideas. She did not expect that he could even trick the giant ice wristband. If she did not die this time, he would definitely find trouble with her. Just as she was thinking about it, she saw Yun Chujio make a gesture to slit her throat. Chen Lu immediately felt a chill from the bottom of her feet and could not help but shiver. She was extremely hoping that Manager Yu would push Yun Chujio out to die again so that she would not have to worry about the future. Soon, another 4 hours had passed. The sun had already started to move to the west, but the attacks of the sea beasts were still increasing. Especially the giant ice wristband. It kept hitting the protective shield and occasionally used its huge eyeballs to search for Yun Chujio's location, and then it hit even more fiercely. It had never suffered such humiliation before. If it didn't eat that little ant today, it would be too ashamed to stay in the Eternal River. Manager Yu suggested to Altar Master Deng again. Altar Master Deng, it's going to be dark soon. When that time comes, the situation will be even more unfavorable for us. I think it's better to let Chojio go out to appease the anger of the giant ice wristband. As long as the giant ice wristband leaves, the other sea beasts will lose their desire to fight. The sea beast tide this time will also be appeased. Altar Master Deng did not refuse this time. The giant ice wristband glared at Chojio from time to time. It was clear that it hated her to the bone. If she was allowed to leave, it might really be able to quell the anger of the giant ice wristband. Seeing that Altar Master Deng did not refuse, Manager Yu immediately shouted at Yun Chujio, who was working hard to defend, Chojio, come here. Altar Master Deng has something to tell you. Chapter 5476, Little Eight Claws. Shen Wu and Wei Ba heard Manager Yu's words and looked at Yun Chujio worriedly. They did not dare to say anything and said in a low voice, "Be careful." Yun Chujio curled the corners of her lips and revealed a faint smile with an unknown meaning. Then she turned around and ran towards the place where Altar Master Deng was. Shen Wu shivered. She had seen Chojio smile like this before. So it was not her misconception. This Chojio's smile was very good, sinister. Yun Chujio approached Altar Master Deng and bowed. Altar Master Deng, do you have any orders? Altar Master Deng sighed. The situation is critical now. We can only resolve the crisis by appeasing the anger of the giant ice wristband. Before Altar Master Deng could finish his words, Yun Chujio said, Altar Master Deng, don't worry. I understand what you mean. I will climb up the city wall and delay the giant ice wristband for another hour. After saying that, Yun Chujio didn't care about Altar Master Deng's reaction and immediately jumped toward the city wall. Altar Master Deng was going to say that he wanted her to go out of the city to calm the giant ice wristband's anger, not to delay the time on the city wall. Manager Yu said viciously, "Altar Master, this ugly Jiao is cunning. I will catch her and throw her out of the city." Altar Master Deng thought for a moment and said, "Forget it. If she can delay the giant ice wristband, it's fine. There's no need to let her out of the city." Manager Yu was slightly dissatisfied, but he did not dare to go against Altar Master Deng. He acknowledged and then stared at Yun Chujia's back with a gloomy expression. He felt that Yun Chujia was just stalling for time. The giant ice wristband had already been fooled once, so it would not be fooled this time. The giant ice wristband had been watching Yun Chujia's movements. Seeing that she dared to climb up the city wall again, it quickly climbed to the top of the protective shield closest to Yun Chujio and slapped the protective shield angrily. Under its slap, a crack appeared on the protective shield again. However, Yun Chujio did not show any fear on her face. She smiled faintly and said, "Little Octopussy, stop for a while. I have something important to tell you." Giant ice wristband was so angry that it was twitching. Little Octopussy? No matter what, it was still called an octopus before, but now it had become Little Octopussy? How was it small? How was it small? Giant ice wristband didn't want to listen, but it couldn't suppress the curiosity in its heart, so it stopped beating. Yun Chujio looked ashamed, regretful, and guilty. She even shed a few crocodile tears. "Little Octopussy, I was wrong. I shouldn't have lied to you before. I don't deserve to be a human. I've let you down, I've let down the eternal river, and I've let down the divine enlightenment continent. I'm an unpardonable sinner." Giant ice wristband saw Yun Chujia's crying tears and felt very relieved. This wretched girl still had a bit of conscience, but even so, it couldn't make up for her mistake. It would definitely eat her today. Moreover, she had that tempting good thing on her body. No matter what, it would eat her. When the giant ice wristband thought of this, it roared in contempt twice, and then continued to be afraid of putting up a protective barrier. Manager Yu saw the situation, and disdain flashed in his eyes. He said, "Altar Master, that Cho Jiao is already at her wit's end. Why don't we just throw her out?" Altar Master Deng did not say anything. He felt that Yun Chujio should still have some tricks up her sleeve. At that moment, Yun Chujio said, "Little Eight Claw, stop first. I haven't finished speaking. What I want to say concerns your life. Don't you want to hear about it?" Giant ice wristband was stunned, and its limbs stopped moving. It wanted to hear what was going on. Yun Chujio sighed. "Sigh, I know that I have sinned deeply. I don't deserve to die. Even if I were to be eaten by you, I deserve it." The 8 limbs of the giant ice wristband swayed at the same time. Obviously, they could not agree more with Yun Chujio's words. This wretched girl really deserved to die. She actually dared to trick it. She was really audacious. Yun Chujio wiped her tears with her sleeve. "I originally wanted to leave the city and let you eat me, but if I did that, I would be harming you." Giant ice wristband's huge eyes were filled with suspicion. Clearly, it was somewhat puzzled by Yun Chujio's words. Yun Chujio choked and said, "To tell you the truth, I was fed with a lethal poison. Don't look at me now as if I'm alive and kicking, but in reality, I've already been poisoned. Did you see my cultivation? I was originally at the peak of the 9th level of the Spirit Extinguisher realm. It was because I was poisoned that my cultivation fell to the 6th level of the Spirit Extinguisher realm." Hearing Yun Chujio's words, Giant Ice Wristband looked at Yun Chujio suspiciously. This stinky girl's cultivation was indeed much lower than the others. Could it really be because she was poisoned? Yun Chujio looked around mysteriously and moved closer to the protective shield. She lowered her voice and said, "I did that just to provoke you. The purpose is very simple. You are so angry. When I leave the city, you will definitely eat me. But because I have a lethal poison in my body, once you eat me, the consequences can be imagined." The giant ice wristband was suddenly shocked. If what she said was true, then if it swallowed her, wouldn't she die? Yun Chujio saw the panic and doubt in the giant ice wristband's eyes. She was delighted and continued, I didn't want to tell you the truth, I couldn't bear to tell you the truth, so I ignored their orders and came here to tell you the truth. I think you should take a look at Snavel. Simicron, it's not just me. Many people here have been poisoned. This kind of poison is slow-acting. There won't be any abnormalities at that time, but it will take effect after a long time. It will start to fester from the inside of the body and then spread to the whole body. Fortunately, you didn't fall for it. Otherwise, your 8 arms and legs would have rotted in the end. I reckon that only 2 big eyeballs would be left in the end. Giant Ice Wristband was frightened by her hypothesis. It subconsciously curled up its 8 arms and legs, but it immediately reacted. This darn girl couldn't be lying to it again, right? Sigh, you might think that I'm lying to you, but how could someone as smart as you not be able to tell a lie? Didn't you notice that the beast tide this time was different from the past? Didn't you notice anything unusual? Let me tell you, there's a huge conspiracy behind this. The poison is very strong. If you're poisoned, it will take effect. If a sea beast eats you, it will also be poisoned. Then, the poison will spread rapidly, and this ancient river will be under the control of US humans. I don't agree with such a method. If you want to fight, then fight openly. What kind of hero is using tricks? However, my words are soft and I was poisoned. I have no choice but to tell you the truth. I heard that they still have other tricks up their sleeves. You should take care of yourself. After saying that, Yun Chujio looked at the giant ice wristband with a complicated expression. Then she turned around and left. When she was halfway there, she turned back and said, "By the way, do you see that man with the aquiline nose and dark blue clothes down there? He was the one who came up with this insidious idea. He even forced me to go out and poison you just now. If it wasn't for the fact that my cultivation level is not as high as his, I would really like to kill him and eliminate the evil for the people." The person that Yun Chujio was talking about was Manager Yu. After Yun Chujio finished speaking, she did not care about the giant ice wristband's reaction and ran down the city wall. The giant ice wristband was stunned on the spot. The more it thought about it, the more it felt that what Yun Chujio said was true. The reason why it ran over was because it smelled an alluring fragrance. Otherwise, it would not have participated in this small-scale beast tide. Now that it thought about it, the fragrance was too strange. After smelling it, it could not care about anything else in its mind. It only wanted to rush over quickly. Moreover, the fragrance was sometimes and sometimes. Previously, when the little girl tricked it, it had smelled the fragrance before it paid attention to the little girl. Otherwise, it would not have bothered to pay attention to her. Could it really be a human conspiracy? It was a Tier 7 moon seal sea beast. If it was slow because of the poison, it would definitely be eaten by other high-level sea beasts. Then, the poison would quickly spread among the high-level sea beasts. Heavens, if that was the case, wouldn't all the sea beasts in the immemorial river die? No wonder so many people had come out from the heavenly dock to die in vain. It turned out that it was to numb them. Humans were too sinister. Fortunately, the little girl had a conscience and told it the truth in the end. Otherwise, wouldn't it become the sinner of the ancient river sea beasts? Giant Ice Wristband was scared and resentful. Its huge eyes stared at Manager Yu coldly, wishing that it could tear him into pieces. As Yun Chujio's words were very soft, Altar Master Deng and Manager Yu did not hear what she said. "Manager Yu, the most important thing now is to appease the anger of the giant ice wristband. Otherwise, as the sky darkens, it will be more disadvantageous to us. I think you should take a look at Snavel." Before Manager Yu could finish, Yun Chujio said, "Manager Yu, what Manager Yu said is not unreasonable. The most important thing now is to appease the anger of the giant ice wristband." Manager Yu almost laughed out loud. This Chojio was extremely stupid. He actually jumped into the pit himself. He was really courting death. Altar Master Deng was also stunned by Yun Chujio's words. He thought to himself, why was this Chojio sometimes smart and sometimes dumb? Didn't she know that Manager Yu's purpose of saying these words was to throw her out of the city? Forget it. Since she was courting death herself, he did not have to worry too much. Therefore, Altar Master Deng nodded. What you said is true. As long as the anger of the giant ice wristband is appeased, the other sea beasts are nothing to be afraid of. Since that's the case, Chojio, you can leave the city. Yun Chujio blinked her eyes in confusion. Altar Master, it's useless for me to leave the city. The person that the giant ice wristband hates isn't me. It's useless for me to leave. Manager Yu immediately sneered. Chojio, you tricked the giant ice wristband before, so it naturally hates you to the bone. Don't try to shirk it. Sacrificing you alone will save the entire Ascending Heaven dock and save the lives of tens of thousands of people here. You deserve to die. Yun Chujia's face was a little pale as she asked, Manager Yu, according to what you said, the person that the giant ice wristband hates is you. Would you willingly leave the city to die? Manager Yu saw that the other managers and many guards were staring at him. He straightened his back and said with a righteous face, Of course. As a member of the Heavenly Dock, I have to make sacrifices for everyone. Yun Chujio curled her lips. Then you can go. Manager Yu was stunned at first, then he said with a gloomy face, I'm not the one that the giant ice wristband hates. What's the use of me going out? Altar Master, don't talk nonsense with her. They'll get someone to throw her out now. Yun Chujio said calmly, Altar Master, the giant ice wristband has already expressed to me clearly that the person it hates is Manager Yu. If you don't believe me, I can prove it to you now. Although Altar Master Deng did not believe what Yun Chujio said, he thought of something and said, Oh? Then prove it. Seeing that Altar Master Deng agreed so readily, Yun Chujio had a better idea of what to do next. She had noticed from some details that there was some animosity between Altar Master Deng and Manager Yu. Although it was not obvious, it could be seen from some of the eyes and subtle expressions. Manager Yu's expression was a little ugly, but he firmly believed that the person giant ice wristband hated was Yun Chujio, so he only snorted coldly and did not say anything. The other managers and some guards all stared at Yun Chujio curiously. They wanted to see how ugly Jio would prove it. Yun Chujio took a few steps forward, pointed at Manager Yu, and shouted at Giant Ice Wristband, Little Pulpo, I have already convinced Altar Master. As long as you are willing to leave, he will hand over the culprit to you to deal with. Let me ask you, is the person you hate him? If it is, then erect one of your arms. Rho Alpha Pi Delta S Nu Omicron V Epsilon Alpha Viri 1 cried out in surprise. Manager Yu's face instantly turned pale. He said in a flustered and exasperated manner, Impossible. It must be a coincidence. Yes, it's a coincidence. Yun Chujio glanced at him and shouted at the giant ice wristband, Little Eight-Clawed, he's acting like a scoundrel, saying that it's just a coincidence that you've erected one of your limbs. You've erected all 8 limbs for him to see. I think you should take a look at Snavel. Comfy giant ice wristband immediately erected 8 limbs and let out an angry roar. This time, everyone was even more convinced of Yun Chujio's words. It seemed that the person that the giant ice wristband hated was indeed Manager Yu. However, why did it hate Manager Yu so much? At this moment, Manager Cheng of the Clearwater Workshop slapped his thigh and said, I remember now. During the Beast Tide 3 months ago, Manager Yu caught quite a number of giant ice wristband as food and wine. Could it be that this giant ice wristband is taking revenge for them? As soon as Manager Cheng said this, Manager Huang, who had traveled through the mud workshop, immediately echoed, What Manager Cheng said makes sense. At that time, I even advised him that the Beast Tide had already started to retreat and there was really no need to kill them all. However, he refused to listen and sent people to kill many red-headed ice wristbands. Nonsense. That red-headed ice wristband and giant ice wristband are not of the same race at all. How could they avenge them? Manager Yu was so angry that he was trembling. These 2 people usually did not have a good relationship with him. Now, they were throwing stones at him when he was down. It was really detestable. Yun Chujio did not expect that there would be a god to help her. She immediately said, Even if they are not of the same race, they are still relatives. If your grandmother's family was exterminated by someone, wouldn't you be angry? Manager Chung could not help but burst into laughter when he heard Yun Chujia's interesting words. Manager Yu was flustered and exasperated. He raised his hand and was about to slap Yun Chujio to death, but he did not expect that his feet were unstable. In addition to using too much strength, he fell to the ground like a dog gnawing on mud. At this time, Yun Chujio had already hidden beside Altar Master Deng and said, "Altar Master, there is a limit to the patience of that giant ice wristband. It is better to quickly throw Manager Yu out." Manager Yu got up from the ground in a sorry state and said with a ferocious expression, "Manager Yu, don't listen to her nonsense. She must have played some tricks to make that giant ice wristband listen to her." Yun Chujio looked at him as if she was looking at an idiot. "Manager Yu, even if you are afraid of death, you should at least make up a decent reason. Giant ice wristband will listen to me? I'm just a weakling, how can I make it listen to me? If I had that ability, I would have made these sea beasts retreat long ago." Altar Master Deng and the others also felt that Manager Yu's words were too ridiculous. Although this Chojio was sharp-tongued, how could she have the means to control the giant ice wristband? Manager Yu wished he could strangle Yun Chujio to death. He gnashed his teeth and said, "Altar Master, no matter what, you can't be bewitched by her rumors. Sea beasts are greedy by nature. Even if the giant ice wristband eats me, I want retreat." Yun Chujio immediately laughed sarcastically. "Manager Yu, you didn't say that before. Didn't you say that as long as the giant ice wristband eats me, you can calm down your anger and leave this place? Why did you change your story when it came to you? Could it be that you're afraid of death, so you lied against your conscience?" Rho Alpha Pi Delpha S No Omicron V Epsilon giant ice wristband was getting impatient. He slapped the protective shield again. "Altar Master, look, little Popo is getting impatient. Hurry up and throw Manager Yu out." Yun Chujio urged. Altar Master Deng's eyes flashed and he sighed. "Manager Yu, the situation is forcing you. Go out and take a look. Someone, send Manager Yu out." Manager Yu was so angry that his eyes were about to crack. "Deng Defa, how dare you? I am the nephew of City Lord Yu. If I die, City Lord Yu will not let you go." Yun Chujio pursed her lips. This Manager Yu was really brainless. If he had not said that, it would have been fine. But now that he said that, Altar Master Deng was even more determined to kill him. After all, there was no evidence to prove his death. "I think you should take a look at Snavel." Sure enough, Altar Master Deng said with a gloomy face, "Manager Yu, you sacrificed yourself to save the people of Ascending Heaven Dock. I will naturally report the truth to the higher-ups. You don't have to bother. Do it." Manager Yu naturally wouldn't sit still and wait for his death. He suddenly attacked Altar Master Deng. However, how could he be a match for Altar Master Deng? Moreover, the few managers and guards beside him wouldn't just stand by and watch. In the blink of an eye, they took down Manager Yu, restrained his spiritual power, and threw him outside of Ascending Heaven Dock. Giant Ice Wristband used one of its limbs to wrap up Manager Yu and threw him to the ground with a bang. In a short while he was smashed into meat paste. Only then did Giant Ice Wristband feel that the anger in its heart had dissipated a little. When it was about to attack the protective shield again, it remembered that Yun Chujio had said that the people from Heaven's Dock still had a backup plan. It hesitated a little. After thinking for a while, it decided to leave. Forget it. The culprit was already dead anyway. There was no need to take the risk. It was better to leave as soon as possible. Altar Master Deng and the others saw that Giant Ice Wristband had really retreated. They immediately believed Yun Chujio's words. However, how did she know that the person Giant Ice Wristband hated was Manager Yu? It's like this. I heard that the beast tide in the past was not so fierce, and the Giant Ice Wristband was desperately attacking the protective shield. I felt that there might be a hidden reason behind this. Therefore, I probed and asked a few questions. After a few guesses, I also guessed correctly, Yun Chujio explained. Although Altar Master Deng felt that it seemed to make sense, he also felt that it was somewhat inconceivable. However, he did not have time to think about it, so he let her go back and continue to participate in the defense. The moment the giant ice wristband was withdrawn, the moon-sealed sea beasts felt that something was wrong, so they retreated one after another. At midnight, following the receding tide of the sea, the low-level sea beasts also retreated. Ascending Heaven Dock had finally overcome the crisis. For a moment, there was thunderous cheers, especially for the new examinees, who were crying tears of joy. They almost became scapegoats. If it were not for Chojio's method to delay the giant ice wristband, they would have died a long time ago. Therefore, they were more grateful to Yun Chujio. Even the other candidates were more or less grateful to Yun Chujio. After all, if she had not guessed that the person the giant ice wristband hated was Manager Yu, they would not have been able to escape the fate of being sacrificed in the end. Of course, there were some who were happy and some who were sad. On one hand, Chen-Lu was happy that she had survived the disaster, but on the other hand, she was very uneasy. Manager Yu's death couldn't have been helped by Chojio, and she had offended Chojio previously. The more Chen-Lu thought about it, the more afraid she became. In the end, she made up her mind. Rather than being afraid, it was better to strike first and find an opportunity to get rid of her in 2 days. In any case, she was only at the peak of the 6th level of Spirit Extinguisher, so it was not difficult to kill her. After this battle, the Heavenly Arrival Dock was in a mess. Therefore, the next day, Yun Chujio and the others did not go to pick ice and other work. Instead, they repaired and cleaned the Heavenly Arrival Dock. Yun Chujio stole a glance at Manager Bai. There was no expression on his face. Although he hid it well, Yun Chujio still felt a trace of killing intent. Yun Chujio's heart trembled. Why did this Manager Bai want to kill her? Was it related to Manager Yu's death? Could it be that he was on the same side as Manager Yu? Or could it be that this Manager Bai was someone the Divine Devil Hall had bribed? What had she revealed yesterday that he had found out? I think you should take a look at Snavel. However, regardless of the reason he wanted to kill her, although her cultivation level was low now and she was alone, so what? At least she still had a brain. She bowed and said, "Manager Bai, what can I do for you?" Manager Bai said coldly, "You were in the limelight last night. I didn't know that I had a talent like you under me." It's all thanks to Manager Bai. Chojio doesn't dare to claim credit. Yun Chujio said humbly. Manager Bai sneered, "You are indeed sharp-tongued. Let me ask you, what's your real name?" Yun Chujio's heart sank. It seemed that this Manager Bai was most likely someone arranged by the Divine Devil Hall. Otherwise, he would not have asked for her real name. Fortunately, she had made preparations in advance. Her eyes widened in disbelief. Manager Bai, in the Ascending Heaven Dock, those of us who are to be assessed only have numbers. We are strictly prohibited from mentioning our names. Are you asking me this to test me? Don't worry, I have memorized those rules thoroughly. I will definitely not violate the rules. Manager Bai. He took a deep breath. Very good, I really want to test whether you are abiding by the rules. There's nothing else. You can go back now. Yes. Yun Chujio bowed and left respectfully. Manager Bai frowned. Was this Chojio the person the Divine Devil Hall was talking about? This Chojio had the same cultivation level as Yun Chujio, who the Divine Devil Hall was looking for. Moreover, she had ascended from the heavy cloud continent. Most importantly, her performance last night was quite similar to what the Divine Devil Hall had described. She was eloquent and cunning. Manager Bai felt that it didn't look like it. After all, Chojio's ascending talisman number was different from the one given by the Divine Devil Hall. His spirit root was also different, and his appearance was also different. Could it be just a coincidence? Manager Bai thought for a moment, and a cold smile appeared on his face. Regardless of whether this Chojio was the person the Divine Devil Hall was looking for, he just had to find a crime and die. Moreover, in order to avoid the crime, Altar Master Deng would definitely push the blame of Manager Yu's death onto Chojio. At that time, he might not even need to make a move, and this Chojio would die without a burial place. Yun Chujio walked out of the house, and the corners of her mouth curled up slightly. Fighting with the heavens and the earth was not as good as fighting with people. It was simply a lot of fun. She wanted to see how Manager Bai would dig a hole for her. The next day, after the renovation of the Ascending Heaven dock was completed, everything went as usual. On this day, when picking ice, Chen Lu deliberately chose a place far away from the others to pick ice. Although Ding didn't understand, he didn't dare to question it. He obediently followed Chen Lu to pick ice. Chen Lu lowered her voice and said coldly, "You've gotten a lot of benefits from Chojiu recently, right?" Ding shivered. "Boss, I am just too hungry." "All right, you don't have to say any more. I naturally know what's going on. This Chojiu is full of tricks. Sooner or later, she will harm me, so we have to think of a way to kill her," Chen Lu said coldly. Ding shivered and looked at Chen Lu in disbelief. She didn't want to kill Yun Chujio. Firstly, Yun Chujio had been giving her a lot of food recently. In her eyes, Yun Chujio was a moving canteen. Secondly, Yun Chujio's previous actions during the Beast Tide had made her quite fearful. She felt that offending her wouldn't end well. "I think you should take a look at Snavel. Just like that manager you." He had wanted to make Yun Chujio the scapegoat, but in the end, he had lost his life. Chen Lu saw that Dinger didn't say anything and said with an unsightly expression, "What? Are you planning to go against me?" Although Dinger was quite strong, he was not Chen Liu's match. He said, "Boss, that's not what I meant. Although those guards turn a blind eye to small fights, if someone really dies, I'm afraid we won't be able to escape." "Humph. You pig brain. Of course, I won't leave any evidence. There are 100 ways to kill her. Do you see that ventilation hole not far away? You can trick her into coming over later. I can kill her with a light push. When the time comes, we will insist that she accidentally fell into it. Who will hold us accountable?" Chen Lu laughed sinisterly. Ding couldn't help but shiver when he saw Chen Liu's sinisterly smile. There were a few ventilation holes scattered on the ancient solid ice. It was said that they were created by sea beasts to get some air. As long as they fell in, they would definitely die. "Boss, we really want to do this? Why don't you beat her up to vent your anger? Her cultivation is so low, how would she dare to kill you?" Ding advised. "Cut the crap. If you don't listen to me, I'll kill you first. With your pig brain, I can kill you with a single finger," Chen Lu said viciously. Dinga was both afraid and annoyed. No matter who was scolded like this, he wouldn't feel comfortable. However, she didn't dare to resist, so she could only say, Then do as boss says. I'll listen to you." Chen Lu nodded with satisfaction. "The guards are more strict now. Wait until afternoon, and find an opportunity to trick her to come over." Dinga had been distracted the entire morning. Chen Lu thought to herself, what a useless fool. However, only such a fool would be useful, because she did not have the brains to go against her. As time passed, more and more fast teams began to finish their work. Seeing that the guards were starting to relax, Chen Lu immediately said to Dinga, "Go and trick Chojio to come over." Dinga tried to persuade her, "Boss, why don't we just forget about it?" "After all," Chen Lu interrupted her impatiently, "cut the crap. If you don't trick her, I'll push you inside." Dinga didn't dare to say anything more, so he braced himself and went to find Yun Chujio. She managed to suppress the panic in her heart and walked to Yun Chujio. "Chojio, boss wants you to go over. He has something important to tell you." Yun Chujio had been watching Chen Liu's every move. She had long noticed that there was something wrong between the two of them. "However," she said calmly, "I haven't completed my mission yet. I'm not free." Dinga did not expect Yun Chujio to reject her so decisively. He wanted to give up, but when he thought of Chen Liu's threat, he softened his tone. "Chojio, the boss really has something to talk to you about. You'd better come with me." Yun Chujio looked at Ding with an inexplicable expression. "Really?" Ding looked at Yun Chujio's deep eyes and had the urge to tell her everything. But when he thought of Chen Liu's threat, he could only grit his teeth and say, "It's really something. Stop dawdling and come with me." Yun Chujio did not respond. Just when Dinger thought that Yun Chujio would not agree, he heard her say lightly, "Since there's really something, then I'll go with you to take a look." Shen Wu grabbed her sleeve. That Chenlu definitely doesn't have good intentions. Don't go over. Wei Ba did not say anything, but her expression was full of disapproval. I think you should take a look at Snavel. Kmayan Chujio laughed lightly. You're thinking too much. He'll be back soon. Dingner sighed in his heart. Go back soon? I'm afraid I won't be able to come back. Shen Wu and Wei Ba saw that Yun Chujio had made up her mind, so they could only instruct her to be more careful. Yun Chujio followed Ding Er to the ice where Chenlu was. On the way, Ding Er hesitated for a while and said vaguely, there are many air holes on the ice. Be careful and don't fall in. This was the best way she could think of. She could trick Chojio and not let Chenlu succeed. In this way, Chenlu would have no reason to blame her, and Chojio would not lose her life. Yun Chujio turned her head to look at Dingo, but she did not say anything. When Chenlu saw Yun Chujio approaching, she squeezed out a smile. Sister Chojio, you're here. There was some misunderstanding between us a few days ago. Let's talk things out today so as not to ruin our sisterly relationship. Sister Chenlu, you're too polite. It was all my fault before. Just don't blame me, sister, Yun Chujio said apologetically. Competing in acting skills? She was the essence of acting. Chenlu said a few more pleasantries and then said, Sister Chojio, I still have a mission to complete. How about this? Let Ding pick ice here. Let's talk over there. The direction that Chenlu was pointing at was exactly where the air vent was. Yun Chujio nodded. All right, let's go over. Ding shook his head in his heart. Wasn't this Chojio quite smart before? Why was she so stupid this time? He had already warned her, yet she still dared to follow Chenlu there? Wasn't she courting death? Chapter 5484 Yun Chujio followed Chenlu to the air hole. Chenlu stopped and said a few words hypocritically. Then she pointed at the air hole and said, Sister Chojio, you haven't looked at this air hole carefully, have you? There is another world inside. It's very interesting. Yun Chujio pretended to be interested. Is that so? Then I have to take a good look and broaden my knowledge. But this air hole is said to be very dangerous. It won't fall in, right? You are too timid. As long as you are careful, you won't fall in, Chenlu quickly said. Yun Chujio blinked her eyes. Is that so? Then Sister Chenlu, you go and take a look first. If there is no danger, I will go and take a look. I don't want to lose my life out of curiosity. Chenlu cursed in her heart, but in order to succeed in her plot, she had to take a few steps forward and walked to the ventilation hole. She smiled and said, Look, are you all right? As long as you're careful, there's no help. Ding, who had been paying attention to the situation here, saw the entire process clearly. Chenlu actually slipped and fell into the ventilation hole. How could this be? Didn't Chenlu want to push Chojio in? Why did she fall in? Could it be that she was too nervous and slipped? For some reason, Ding shivered. Could it really be an accident? At this moment, Yun Chujio pulled her neck and shouted, Not good. Not good. Come and save her. Someone fell into the ventilation hole. Yun Chujio's shout attracted a few guards. As for those who were waiting for the test, they did not have the energy or the courage to come and watch the show. They only used the corner of their eyes to glance at the movement. When the guards rushed over, Chen Liu's voice had already disappeared from the air vent. It was dark inside and there was no sound at all. What happened? The leader of the guards asked. Sister Chenlu wanted to explain some misunderstandings to me. After we talked things out, she insisted on going to take a look at the air vent. Who would have thought that she would accidentally fall in? It's really too scary. Yun Chujio said with a pale face. The leader frowned. She fell in by herself? Wasn't it you who pushed her? Yun Chujio immediately widened her eyes in disbelief. Sir, I'm not tired of living. How would I have the guts to kill Sister Chenlu? Besides, I've been standing here the whole time. I'm at least 30 to 40 feet away from the ventilation hole. Even if I wanted to harm her, I couldn't do it. Although this place is a little far from the freezing point, the surrounding ice pickers can also see this place. You can go and check if what I said is true. The leader immediately asked a few candidates who were closer to this place. Some said that they didn't notice, while others confirmed Yun Chujia's statement. She was indeed standing quite a distance away from the air hole. Chen Lu fell into it. The leader asked Ding Er in detail. Ding Er naturally would not tell him that Chen Lu wanted to frame Yun Chujio. He only said that Chen Lu wanted to reconcile with Yun Chujio. In this way, it was exactly as Yun Chujio said. After the leader investigated for a while, he said, although it seems that Chen Liu's death has nothing to do with you, this matter still needs to be decided by Manager Bai. Come with us to see Manager Bai. Yun Chujia's eyes flashed, and then she nodded obediently. The leader saw that Yun Chujio was very cooperative, so he did not restrain her spiritual power. He only brought 2 people to escort Yun Chujio back to the ascending heaven dock. As soon as the leader brought Yun Chujio into the heavenly dock, Yun Chujio was like a wild horse that had run loose. She went crazy. This guy shouted and rampaged. Someone died. It was too scary. Sister Chen Lu, you died so tragically. There was a man-eating monster on the ice. It scared me to death. The leader and the other 2 guards were stunned at first, then they quickly chased after Yun Chujio who had run far away. They all thought that Yun Chujio was too frightened, so she went crazy. The 3 of them despised her in their hearts. This Chojio was too timid. Wasn't it just one person who died? What was the big deal about that? As expected, she was a pig from a low-grade continent. She had no experience at all. Yun Chujio shouted as she rushed to the outside of Altar Master Deng's courtyard. There were many guards around the courtyard, so Yun Chujio naturally could not enter. This fellow blinked his eyes and howled, Altar Master Deng, the giant ice wristband is here again. Altar Master Deng was in the house counting the savings he had accumulated over the years. When he heard Yun Chujia shout, he was so frightened that he trembled. What? The giant ice wristband is here again? Could it be that the sea beasts are rebelling again? Altar Master Deng rushed out of the house in a hurry. Just as he opened the courtyard door, Yun Chujio rushed in and shouted as she ran, the monster is here. The monster is here. When she passed by Altar Master Deng, she said in an extremely low voice, it's important. Altar Master Deng's eyes flashed. Although he did not think that a candidate who was about to be assessed would have any important matters to look for him, when he thought of Yun Chujia's performance during the Beast Tide, his eyes flashed and he said to the little leader who had caught up, you guys wait outside the courtyard for now. I'll take a look at her condition. The little leader and the other 2 naturally did not dare to disobey. They respectfully agreed and then waited outside the courtyard. I think you should take a look at Snavel. Si Omicron Imro Elfres Nu Omicron V Epsilon L. But now, not only was she crazy and noisy, she even risked her life to disturb Altar Master Deng. She was just waiting to be punished. She might not even be able to keep her life. She was really courting death. When Altar Master Deng entered the room, Yun Chujio had already returned to normal. She stood there respectfully and waited. Altar Master Deng snorted coldly. I'd like to hear what your so-called important matter is. Don't be so ignorant after you've made a small contribution. If you can't say Zi Wu In Mao today, you'll be severely punished. Yun Chujio didn't respond. Instead, she looked around carefully, as if she was afraid that someone would eavesdrop. Altar Master Deng frowned. Could it be that this Chojio really had something important to do? If there's anything, just say it. No one else can interfere in my business. Yun Chujio let out a long breath and immediately said with tears streaming down her face, Altar Master, please save me. I can't live anymore. Altar Master Deng frowned again. Save you? What do you mean? Altar Master, today, Chen Lu from Group 9 sent someone to call me over. She said that she wanted to explain the previous misunderstanding to me. I didn't think much and agreed. Then, she brought me to the ventilation hole and said that she wanted me to see what a ventilation hole was. Although I was a little curious, I heard that the ventilation hole was very dangerous, so I didn't want to go over. Chen Lu said that there was no danger and even deliberately went near the air vent to show me. Who would have thought that she actually slipped and fell into the air vent? After the incident, a guard immediately questioned the testimony of the surrounding people and said that this matter had nothing to do with me. However, according to the procedure, the small leader still needs to report this matter to Manager BI for a decision. Altar Master Deng's frown deepened and he asked, "You've said so much nonsense just to tell me that you're innocent?" Chapter 5486. He was a spy from the Divine Devil Temple. Altar Master Deng's tone was a little impatient. Wasn't this Chojio taking herself too seriously? Why would she bother him with such a small matter? Moreover, she was even making a big fuss and pretending to be crazy. She was really audacious. Yun Chujio shivered. "Altar Master, do you think that I'm making a big fuss out of nothing? I originally thought that this was just an accident and that I was just unlucky to be involved in it. However, I thought of one thing and realized that this was a conspiracy to take my life." Altar Master Deng was stunned. "What do you mean?" Chen Liu's character is vengeful. She would never rush to my side to express her goodwill. Even if she really wanted to express her goodwill, she shouldn't have deliberately lured me to the ventilation hole. I already said that the ventilation hole was dangerous, but she still eagerly demonstrated to me that there was no danger. After a while, I realized that she was probably trying to trick me to the ventilation hole, then she would push me in and kill me, Yun Chujio said with lingering fear. Altar Master Deng did not have any objections to Yun Chujio's guess, but did this kind of scheming really have to come to him? He said impatiently, "In that case, just tell Manager Bai the truth. He will naturally make the decision for you." Yun Chujio immediately revealed a horrified expression and her body trembled violently. "Manager Bai? He will not make the decision for me. He will definitely frame me as a murderer and then kill me." Altar Master Deng immediately frowned. "What do you mean?" Yun Chujio looked around again before she lowered her voice and said, "Altar Master, I have discovered a big secret of Manager Bai. I suspect that he was the one who sent Chen Lu to kill me to silence me. However, the heavens have eyes. That Chen Lu actually fell into the ventilation hole by herself." Altar Master Deng's gaze immediately turned cold. "A big secret of Manager Bai? What secret?" Yun Chujio lowered her voice again and said word by word, "He is a spy of the Divine Devil Hall." "What? What did you say? This kind of thing cannot be said casually. If you are lying, Humph." Altar Master Deng exclaimed in disbelief. "Altar Master, even if I had 10 guts, I would not dare to tell such a big lie. I can guarantee with my life that Manager Bai is definitely colluding with the Divine Devil Hall," Yun Chujio said with certainty. "Tell me, what exactly is going on?" Altar Master Deng narrowed his eyes. If it was true, it would be a great merit. After all, the Divine Devil Hall had planted spies in the Ascending Heavens dock. Once they were discovered, it would definitely be a wrong thing to do. Maybe the higher-ups could take advantage of this matter to extort some benefits from the Divine Devil Hall. However, how did this Chojio find out? Yun Chujio took a deep breath. "The day after the beast tied, Manager Bai called me over. His expression was quite unfriendly. What made me even more fearful was that I saw the killing intent in his eyes. At that time, I was so scared that I almost fainted. Fortunately, he interrogated me for a few words before letting me leave. I felt as though I was about to be pardoned and hurriedly left the house. However, when I thought of Manager Bai's expression before, I felt as though I was in a daze. I felt that Manager Bai might have misunderstood something and wanted to go back and explain a little. However, I was afraid that I would backfire. After hesitating for a while, I turned around and went back. I saw Manager Bai holding a jade plate in his hand. Although he immediately put it away, I still saw the Higan flower pattern engraved on the jade plate. Altar Master Deng immediately asked with a gloomy expression, "Did you see it clearly?" Chapter 5487. Yun Chujio nodded her head firmly. "Although my cultivation is a bit useless, my eyesight has always been very good. Although it was just a glimpse, I still saw it clearly." Altar Master Deng asked suspiciously, "Since you saw it, why didn't Manager Bai kill you to silence you?" Yun Chujio said somewhat uncertainly, He put it away very quickly, and I tried my best to show that I didn't find anything abnormal. I guess he was not sure whether I saw it or not. Also, at that time, I was in the limelight during the beast tide. He might have been afraid that killing me would arouse your suspicion, so he didn't make a move. For the next few days, I was trembling with fear, afraid that Manager Bai would silence me. However, everything was calm. I thought that this matter might be over. Who would have thought that today's incident would happen? Altar Master Deng pondered for a moment, as if he was considering the authenticity of Yun Chujia's words. After a while, he asked in a deep voice, "Since you have long discovered Manager Bai's flaw, why haven't you reported it to me? Are you planning to hide it and not report it?" Yun Chujio immediately said with trepidation, "Altar Master, to be honest, I wanted to report it to you at that time, but Manager Bai must have planted spies by my side. I'm afraid that I will die before I see you. I've been looking for a suitable opportunity. I finally took advantage of Chen Liu's death to have the opportunity to see you. Please understand." Altar Master Deng knew very well that Yun Chujio did not report it because she did not want to get into trouble. Now, she had no choice but to tell him about this matter. However, this did not matter. As long as it was confirmed that Manager Bai was colluding with the Divine Devil Hall, it would be a great merit. After spending some savings, he could be transferred out of this Ascending Heaven dock. Previously, although he wanted to be transferred out of the Ascending Heavens dock, he was not in such a rush. However, after the beast tide a few days ago, he did not want to stay in this damned place anymore. This is just a one-sided statement. How can you prove that what you said is true? Dock Master, this is easy. You will hand me over to the 3 guards in a while. Manager Bai will definitely try to kill me indiscriminately. I will think of a way to anger him and make him reveal his foxtail. I will use the recording stone to record his crimes. You just need to seize the opportunity to go in and save me. Yun Chujio was not worried that Altar Master Deng would not be able to pay attention to the situation in the quenching workshop. He must have spies in the quenching workshop. Altar Master Deng nodded when he heard that. All right, we will do as you say. If this matter is true, I will not mistreat you. Thank you, Altar Master Deng. I only hope to keep my life. I don't expect any extra rewards from you, Yun Chujio said humbly. Altar Master Deng was very satisfied with Yun Chujia's tactfulness. Then he asked someone to take her out. Altar Master Deng's guard pushed Yun Chujio fiercely and then shouted sternly, "Altar Master Deng, on account of your previous meritorious service, I won't pursue you this time. If you barge in again, I'll kill you without mercy." The 3 people from before curled their lips. This Chojio was really seeking death by playing tricks. The small leader sneered and mocked a few times before he brought Yun Chujio to the quenching workshop. After meeting Manager Bai, the small leader told him about the matter. However, he did not mention the matter of Yun Chujio breaking into Altar Master Deng's courtyard. The reason was very simple. After all, he did not have strict supervision, so it was better not to say anything. When Manager Bai heard the small leader's words, a glimmer of light flashed in his eyes. He was worried that he would not have the chance to kill this Chojio, but he did not expect the opportunity to come knocking on his door. Chapter 5488 was bought with money. Chojio, Chen Liu's death really has nothing to do with you? Manager Bai said coldly. Manager Bai is very clear. Sister Chen Lu slipped and fell on her own. It really has nothing to do with me. Yun Chujio said innocently. Humph. What nonsense. Your words can only fool the others. When the beast tide came, you hid among the crowd. It was Chen Lu who exposed you. You must have a grudge against her. Therefore, what happened was not an accident, but a carefully planned murder. Manager Bai shouted sternly. I'm innocent. Manager Bai, although I'm a little dissatisfied with Sister Chen Lu, I don't have the guts to kill her. Besides, I have witnesses. They can prove that I didn't do anything. Manager Bai sneered. They are at least 1,000 feet away from the place where the accident happened. How could they see it so clearly? Besides, Chen Lu has been in the sky for almost 8 months. How could she not know the dangers of the air vent? If you didn't trick her, How could she have gotten close to the air vent? Needless to say, you have committed an unpardonable crime by killing the other candidates. Men, take them away and kill them. Yun Chujio praised herself in her heart. She knew that Manager Bai would take the opportunity to kill her, so she went to find Altar Master Deng. Want to kill her? Ehe, let's see who dies in the end. At this time, 2 guards had already come up and wanted to drag Yun Chujio down to kill her. However, Yun Chujio suddenly stood up and said sternly, Manager Bai, let them go down. I'll tell you about what happened last time. Manager Bai thought that she wanted to admit her identity, so his eyes flashed. If he could confirm her identity, it would be better to take credit from the Divine Devil Hall. Therefore, he waved his hand and signaled the others to go out. After the others had left, before Manager Bai could say anything, Yun Chujio said with a mocking face, Manager Bai, are you planning to add to the crime without any excuses? Manager Bai sneered with a hint of pride. In this quenching workshop, it's easy for me to kill someone. You asked for it. Manager Bai, I really don't understand what benefits the Divine Devil Hall has given you. You actually took such a big risk to betray Ascending Heaven Dock and the alliance of 10,000 cities. Manager Bai was already certain of Yun Chujio's identity in his heart. Seeing her question, he was not too surprised. TSK, you're really smart. You actually guessed it. However, so what if you guessed it? You're dead for sure today. As long as you die. Yun Chujio was afraid that he would reveal his identity, so she interrupted him. As long as I die, your identity will not be exposed, right? I didn't expect that there would be a scum like you in Ascending Heaven Dock. Chen Lu wanted to kill me, was it because of you? Also, there were many abnormalities in the previous Beast Tide. It was also because of you and the Divine Devil Hall, right? Do you still want to kill Altar Master Deng and replace him? Manager Bi's secret thoughts were revealed by Yun Chujio, and he immediately became angry from embarrassment. Shut up, you bitch. How dare you talk nonsense when you are about to die? Pooey. You want me to shut up and I'll shut up. Shameless. Altar Master Deng is 100 times stronger than you, and you're not even worthy to carry his shoes. And you still dare to dream of obtaining the position of the Altar Master through the hands of the Divine Devil Hall? What wishful thinking. Manager Bai gnashed his teeth in anger. What's so great about that old thing, Deng Defa? This Altar Master was only bought with money, and I can do it any time I want. Chapter 5489 is really a good child. When Yun Chujio heard Manager Bi's words, she was very satisfied that he had already embarked on the road of no return. She gave Manager Bai a meaningful smile, and then she pulled her neck and shouted, Help! Help! Manager Bai is going to kill me to silence me. Manager Bai had a faint ominous feeling in his heart, but then he thought about how he would not go back on his words in this quenching workshop. No one dared to come in, let alone save this ugly Geo. He sneered, It's useless even if you scream. Speak your... Before he could finish his words, the door was kicked open. Altar Master Deng walked in with a gloomy face. Manager Bai didn't know if Altar Master Deng had heard what he had said. A hint of panic flashed across his face. Then he stood up and said, Altar Master, why are you here? Cho Jio killed Chen Lu. I'm interrogating her now. Altar Master Deng sneered again and again. Manager Bai, I've always treated you well. I didn't expect you to slander me behind my back like this. Did I buy this Altar Master? Although Altar Master Deng only heard the last few words, he immediately exploded in anger. He did not hit others in the face, and he did not expose others' shortcomings. Although he, the Altar Master, was indeed bought. Manager Bai heaved a sigh of relief in his heart. It seemed that he had not heard what he had said earlier. This was easy to handle. At most, he would just have to spill some blood. Manager Bai, I drank a little wine earlier, so I was spouting nonsense. Please treat it as if I was farting. This is the Dragon Beard Ice Ginseng that I accidentally obtained earlier. I'll treat it as an apology to you. Manager Bai took out a jade box as he spoke. The moment the jade box was opened, Yun Chujio, who was beside him, snatched the jade box and, ate the dragon beard ice ginseng in no time. Hei Shinjio, who had regained control of her body, was fuming with anger. She wished that she could burn the Goeibatsao into ashes. However, the most important thing now was how to smooth things over. Otherwise, Altar Master Deng would definitely not let her off. In her haste, she came to her senses and held her stomach. Bean-sized beads of sweat rolled down from her forehead. She even spat out a mouthful of blood and said with difficulty, "Altar Master Deng, it is indeed poisonous." Altar Master Deng was about to fly into a rage because Yun Chujio had eaten the dragon beard ice ginseng. He did not expect that the dragon beard ice ginseng was actually poisonous. Yes, this damn manager Bai wished that he could kill him and replace him. How could he give him the dragon beard ice ginseng? Fortunately, this Chojio was loyal to his master and was afraid that he would not believe it. He actually tested the poison with his own body. What a good child. However, it seemed that she would not be able to live. Yun Chujio said with difficulty, "Altar Master, take him down. His storage ring. There must be an antidote in it." Upon hearing that, Altar Master Deng did not give Manager Bai a chance to explain. He immediately slapped him. Manager Bai was still confused. He did not know whether Altar Master Deng knew that he had received benefits from the Divine Devil Hall. However, if he did not resist, he would be finished once he found the things in his storage ring. Therefore, he said while dodging, "Altar Master, what are you doing? That dragon beard ice ginseng is not poisonous at all. It's all Chojio's nonsense." Yun Chujio, who was dying at the side, shouted with difficulty, "Altar Master, he really is." This fellow fainted before he could say anything. When Altar Master Deng heard that, he immediately understood what Yun Chujio meant. It seemed that this manager Bai was really from the Divine Devil Hall. Moreover, Chojio had already recorded the evidence. In that case, there was no need to be polite. Chapter 5490 Wishful Thinking. Manager Bai wanted to explain at first, but when he saw that Altar Master Deng was not going to let him go, and that his attacks were all killing moves, he immediately flew into a rage out of humiliation. It seemed that this Deng Defa had the intention to kill him. If it fell into his hands, it would definitely be a disaster. Moreover, if he were to find any clues, he would not be able to survive. He might as well escape from Ascending Heaven Dock before the news spread and then think of a way. Thinking of this, he stopped dodging and started to fight back. Altar Master Deng saw that he was ruthless and immediately believed Yun Chujio's words. If he was not guilty, why did he resist? There must be something fishy. Thinking of Manager Bai saying that he spent money to buy the Altar Master, he wished he could slap Manager Bai to death. The two of them fought their way out of the room. Hei Xinjia's eyes revealed a slit as she sneakily watched the battle outside. She was not worried that Manager Bai would be able to escape, because Altar Master Deng must have made preparations before he came. Did Manager Bai want to escape? TSK wishful thinking. If Manager Bai was captured, her identity might be exposed under torture. Although her identity would be exposed sooner or later, it was better to delay for a period of time. Therefore, it was best not to leave anyone alive. It was a pity that the curse of Xiao Hanio was used on Chen Lu. Otherwise, it could have helped Altar Master Deng to kill Manager Bai. Just as Yun Chujio was worried, the Goeibatsao in her dantian began to act cute. This guy was guilty, so he wanted to make up for it. Yun Chujio's heart moved, and she gave a few instructions to the Goeibatsao. If it were in the past, Yun Chujio would not have taken such a risk. Although the Goeibatsao was small, it was hard to avoid being discovered because of its bright color. However, this time was different. Firstly, it was an urgent matter, and secondly, Manager Bai had planted a lot of purple warbler grass in his courtyard. It was the blooming season, and there were a lot of purple petals on the ground. With the cover of these petals, the Goeibatsao could completely muddle through. After listening to Yun Chujio's instructions, Goeibatsao sneaked out of the house and used the cover of purple warbler grass to approach the place where the fight was taking place. At this time, many guards had joined the battle. Manager Bai was like a cornered beast. Even though he was badly injured, he still put up a desperate fight. Manager Bai gnashed his teeth and said, "Deng Defa, you are taking revenge on your own business. I will not let you get away with it today." Altar Master Deng looked at him contemptuously. At this moment his victory was already in his grasp. He said to the guards, "Capture him alive." He had already planned it out. After capturing Manager Bai, he would interrogate him and give him a confession. Then he would hand him over to the higher-ups. This would be a great merit. Who would have thought that when he was distracted, Manager Bai would let out a miserable cry. Altar Master Deng focused his eyes and saw Manager Bai lying on the ground in a bloody mess. He did not need to look to know that he was definitely dead. Altar Master Deng shouted angrily, "Didn't you say to leave him alive? Who killed him?" Immediately, a few guards said hesitantly, "Altar Master Deng, he suddenly lost his balance and fell. It's too late for us to stop him." "Yeah, his fall is really strange. I think he took the initiative to ask for death. He must have committed suicide because of guilt." Altar Master Deng frowned. Previously, Manager Bai was still putting up a stubborn resistance. Why did he suddenly want to die? However, no matter what, he had to search first. Altar Master Deng used his spiritual sense to probe Manager Bai's storage ring. However, he did not find the jade plate with the spider lilies that Yun Chujio mentioned. Chapter 5491 Spirit Awakening Pill. Altar Master Deng frowned. Could it be a mistake? However, thinking back to Manager Bai's previous reaction, it was obvious that he had a guilty conscience. Could it be that after Chojio had discovered it, Manager Bai had hidden the jade medallion or simply destroyed it? The more Altar Master Deng thought about it, the more he felt that it was possible. He carefully checked the other things in his storage ring. In addition to a lot of spirit stones, there were also several bottles of pills. One of the exquisite small porcelain bottles caught Altar Master Deng's attention. Altar Master Deng picked up the small porcelain bottle. After opening the cork, his hand slightly trembled. He closed the cork again and put it back as if nothing had happened, his storage ring. Altar Master Deng's heart thumped non-stop. Inside the small porcelain bottle was a blood-red pill. This red medicinal pill was very famous in the Divine Enlightenment continent. It was called the Spirit Opening Pill. The reason why this Spirit Opening Pill was famous was because of its miraculous effects. In the Divine Enlightenment continent, many cultivators would never be able to cross the threshold of the peak of the 9th layer of the Divine Summoning Realm in their entire lives. They were unable to successfully break through to the Divine Presentation Realm. However, if one consumed the Spirit Opening Pill, the success rate would miraculously increase. Although the success rate was still not very high, it was enough to drive people crazy. The requirements for the Spirit Opening Pill were very high for alchemists. Unless one was a master alchemist, there was no way to successfully refine it. This was not considered much. The most important thing was that one of the main ingredients, the Fire Phoenix Pistol, was only produced in the location of the Divine Devil Hall. Hence, this Spirit Opening Pill had always been monopolized by the Divine Devil Hall. Moreover, it was only given away and not sold. No matter how much money one spent, one could not buy it. If the various large factions wanted it, they could only exchange it with some benefits. Hence, the Spirit Opening Pill could be said to be priceless. According to Manager Bai's status, it was impossible for him to get the Spirit Cultivating Pill. The only possibility was that he was a spy of the Divine Devil Hall. Many thoughts flashed through Altar Master Deng's mind. He would definitely not hand over the Spirit Cultivating Pill. However, if he did not hand over the Spirit Cultivating Pill, how could he prove that Manager Bai was a spy of the Divine Devil Hall? After all, if he executed the manager without a proper reason, it was inevitable that the higher-ups would find trouble with him. He suddenly thought of Yun Chujio, who was poisoned, in the room and quickly ran into the room. He saw that Yun Chujio's clothes were covered in blood. It was obvious that she had vomited blood again. He did not know if she could still be saved. Yun Chujio opened her eyes with great difficulty. When she saw Altar Master Deng, her eyes lit up. "Altar Master Deng, it's great that you are all right. Altar Master Deng did not expect Yun Chujio to be like this. The first thing she said was this. He was more or less touched. Chojio really had a pure heart for him. Altar Master Deng sighed with emotion. He threw all the pills in Manager Bi's storage ring onto the ground. I don't know anything about pills. I can only tell that these bottles are fasting pills, hemostatic pills, and spirit-gathering pills. I don't know what the rest are. Can you tell which one is the antidote? Why don't I call the Sky Ascending Doc's doctor over to take a look? Yun Chujio shook her head with great difficulty. It's too late. The antidote must be in here. He'll just swallow them all. Altar Master Deng did not have time to stop her. Yun Chujio swallowed the dozen or so pills on the ground and then spat out a mouthful of blood. Altar Master Deng gasped. It seemed that Chojio would not survive. Unexpectedly, Yun Chujio's pale face gradually turned better and she stopped vomiting blood. Could it be that the poison had been cured by accident? Chapter 5492 Transparent. After a while, Yun Chujio said in surprise, Altar Master, I seem to be cured. Altar Master Deng was also quite happy. After all, Chojio was related to his future. After a few perfunctory words of comfort, he could not wait to ask, did you record the evidence of Manager Bis' defection to the Divine Devil Hall? Yun Chujio nodded and then took out a recording stone. From it came the conversation between Yun Chujio and Manager Bai. After Altar Master Deng heard it, his face turned extremely gloomy. It was mainly because Manager Bai said that his Altar Master was bought. Yun Chujio said weakly from the side, Altar Master, that Manager Bai is blatantly slandering you. His death is not worthy of pity. However, if the rest of the words were to be spread out, it would be inevitable that some villains would spout nonsense. Please make a copy of this recording stone. There is no need to record the rest of the words. Altar Master Deng's eyes immediately lit up. He felt that Yun Chujio's suggestion was exactly what he wanted. Yun Chujio said again, Altar Master, I think this Manager Bai has big plans. Since he wants to replace him, it means that he wants to control the Soaring Heavens Dock. If he controls the Soaring Heavens Dock, it means that the Divine Devil Hall has indirectly controlled the Soaring Heavens Dock. His intentions are to be punished. It's all thanks to your wise and brilliant strategy that you exposed his conspiracy. Otherwise, the consequences would be unimaginable. You saved the entire Soaring Heavens Dock and all the candidates who were waiting to be assessed. You are our benefactor. Yun Chujio's words were extremely difficult to say. Moreover, she even coughed a few times during the process. Therefore, to Altar Master Deng, she sounded exceptionally sincere. Moreover, he had gotten inspiration from her words. He planned to exaggerate this matter. The bigger the matter was, the greater his contribution would be. The more he thought about it, the more he felt that the position of City Lord was just around the corner. Even though the authority of the Heaven Ascending Dock Lord was not small, this was after all a place where birds did not shit. How could it compare to the glory of a City Lord? However, the Spirit Ascension pill had been kept by him in secret. Other than the sound recording stone, there was no physical evidence. It was a little lacking. Thinking of this, he said, I did not find the jade token in his storage ring. It is not easy to do without physical evidence. Yun Chujio had already sat up weakly. She thought for a moment and said, Altar Master, Manager Bai is afraid that the matter will be exposed. It is normal for him to directly destroy the physical evidence. Moreover, sometimes, who can say whether there is any evidence or not? In any case, there's no way to prove it, right? Altar Master Deng's heart skipped a beat. After all, he had the recording stone in his hands. As for how the higher-ups would negotiate with the Divine Devil Hall, that was beyond his control. When the time came, the higher-ups would naturally find evidence. When it came to Ascending Heaven Dock, the higher-ups would definitely not let the matter rest. Altar Master Deng nodded his head in praise. You little girl, you're really thorough. You've made a great contribution this time. What reward do you want? Yun Chujio hesitated for a moment and then looked at Altar Master Deng with a troubled look. She seemed to be a little embarrassed to say it. Just say it. I won't blame you. Altar Master Deng was in a good mood, so he was quite patient. Altar Master, as you can see, am a good for nothing. Let alone 9 months, I might not even be able to pass the exam in 9 years. What do you think? Yun Chujio said with some embarrassment. Altar Master Deng immediately understood that she wanted to use the back door to pass the test. He said with some embarrassment, I'm afraid that you won't be able to pass the test. You might not know this, but every time during the test, the higher-ups will send someone to supervise the test. At most, I can only reveal some information to you in advance. I can't help you with the rest. Chapter 5493. The battle for team leader Yun Chujio had already learned some information from Dinga, so she was not surprised by Altar Master Deng's answer. She showed a grateful expression. Altar Master, I'm very satisfied to be able to know some news in advance. As for whether I can pass or not, it's up to fate. Altar Master Deng felt a little apologetic when he saw Yun Chujio being so tactful. He said, although I can't help you with the assessment, if you have any other difficulties, you can come to me. I will definitely help you. Yun Chujio was very grateful and praised Altar Master Deng. Altar Master Deng was quite satisfied. At this time, the other managers rushed over when they received the news. Altar Master Deng had no time to talk to Yun Chujio anymore. After hearing Altar Master Deng's story, Manager Cheng and the others were all shocked. They did not expect Manager Bai to collude with the Divine Devil Hall. It was really unexpected. Yun Chujio was sent back to the dormitory by 2 guards. At this time, the other members of Group 9 had already returned to the dormitory. Although they could not leave the courtyard at will, they still heard the sounds of fighting coming from Manager Bis' courtyard and Manager Bis' last scream. Seeing Yun Chujio being sent back with blood all over her body, everyone was even more horrified. However, seeing that the 2 guards' attitude towards Yun Chujio was quite friendly, they couldn't figure out what was going on for a moment. Chojio, are you alright? Are you being tortured? Quick, this is a hemostatic pill. Shen Wu asked worriedly and took out a pill. Yun Chujio did not stand on ceremony. She took it and swallowed it before feeding it to Goei Batsao. She said, weakly, I'm fine. You'll know what's going on soon. I'm too tired. I'll rest for a while. Shen Wu saw that she was extremely weak and did not dare to ask further. However, he did not expect Yun Chujio to continue. My body is not good. If I lie on the ground, I'll catch a cold easily. Carry me to the bed. The moment Yun Chujio said that, the atmosphere in the room suddenly froze. This was not a simple matter of sleeping on the bed. Whoever slept on that bed would be the leader of the 9 groups. The leader of the 9 groups. Anyone in the room was more qualified to be the leader than Ugly Geo. After all, she was a scum of the 6th layer of Spirit Extinguisher. Shen Wu and Wei Ba did not know what to do, so they looked at Yun Chujio. Yun Chujio did not seem to notice the strange atmosphere in the room and raised her voice. What are you waiting for? Quickly carry me up. Shen Wu and Wei Ba had not reacted when a person called Yu Chi sneered. Chojio, why don't you consider your status? Are you worthy to sleep on that bed? Yun Chujio helped Shen Wu sit up and glanced at Yu Chi. I don't deserve it. Then who do you think is worthy? Yu Chi? Yu Chi, of course, felt that she was the only one who was worthy. However, if she said it out loud, she would become the target of public criticism. Thus, she snorted, whether I'm worthy or not, you're not worthy. Yun Chujio was not angry. Her gaze swept over everyone and landed on Dinga. Sister Dinga, who do you think should be the team leader? Dinga had been absent-minded ever since he returned. He did not even dare to look Yun Chujio in the eye. Chen Lu wanted to push Chojio into the air vent, but in the end, she fell in. Was she really careless? It must have been Chojio. It was too scary. Chapter 5494 Military Order. When Ding saw that the guards had taken Yun Chujio away, she heaved a sigh of relief. She felt that Yun Chujio might be punished. However, she found that although there was a lot of blood on Yun Chujio's clothes, it was obviously not a big deal. She immediately became worried again. Manager, you had harmed Cho Jio and was dead. Chen Lu had harmed Cho Jio and was also dead. She had indirectly helped Chen Lu to harm her. Would she be the next to die? Ding-o was worried when he heard Yun Chujia's question. He immediately shivered and said without thinking, You do it. After saying that, she felt the puzzled gazes of the others. Her heart suddenly moved. If she helped Cho Jio to become the team leader, she would have made up for it, and Cho Jio would not have dealt with her. Thinking of this, Ding-o raised his voice and said, Cho Jio was the one who suggested to cooperate with ice mining. Also, a few days ago during the Beast Tide, if it weren't for her, we would have all become sacrificial victims. It can be said that Cho Jio is our savior. So, Cho Jio is the most suitable team leader. Anyway, I think that apart from Cho Jio, no one else has the qualifications to be the team leader. If anyone is unconvinced, then we'll talk about it after you get past me. Yu Qi and the others were shocked when they heard Ding Er's words. Ding was the strongest after Chen Lu. If she were to stand on Cho Jio's side, it would be really difficult. However, letting Cho Jio become the team leader just like that, they were really unconvinced in their hearts. Just as everyone was hesitating, Yun Chujio smiled lightly and said, I know that you all feel that letting me be the team leader is very unreconciled. How about this? I'll make a military order. I guarantee that I'll lead Team 9 to be in the top 3. If I can't do it, I'll voluntarily give up the position of team leader. How about it? Everyone looked at each other. Should they say that Ugly 9 was too arrogant or stupid? Stay in the top 3? This was simply impossible. Previously, they were able to enter the top 3 because they cooperated with each other to pick ice. Later on, the other teams also implemented it. Their 9 teams no longer had an advantage. After all, they were all women. They definitely could not compete with those men's teams. However, since she had jumped into the pit, they were happy to agree. Anyway, she would not be able to be the team leader soon. Seeing that no one else made a sound, Yun Chujio signaled Shen Wu and Wei Ba to help her to the bed. This fellow threw Chen Liu's blanket on the ground, spread out his luggage, and crossed his legs to chew on the meat buns. While eating, this fellow said, Sigh, this bed is still more comfortable. Once I lie down, my whole body will be comfortable. My waist won't hurt anymore, my back won't hurt anymore, and even the problem of vomiting blood won't be there anymore. When the crowd saw that she deserved a beating, they felt stifled in their hearts. However, since she had already agreed, there was no reason to go back on her words. After all, Cho Jio still had Ding Er's support. Yun Chujio admired the interesting expressions of the crowd for a while, and then she began to use her spiritual sense to scold Goei Batsao. Goei Batsao had long been prepared. Anyway, it had already eaten the dragon beard ice ginseng. So be it. It had been a long time since it had been scolded, and it was still not used to it. Yun Chujio looked at Goei Batsao, who looked like a dead pig that was not afraid of boiling water. She was so angry that she gritted her teeth. If it were not for her quick reaction, Altar Master Deng would not have let her off. Thinking of Altar Master Deng, Yun Chujio narrowed her eyes. Although he sounded so nice, he might not really help her at the critical moment. She always remembered one thing, that was not to put her hopes on others. It was safer to rely on herself. Chapter 5495. The next morning, Group Leader Cho Jio was carried by Ding to the canteen. She had no choice. She had been poisoned yesterday. She wouldn't recover so quickly. Along the way, this guy received a lot of attention. He didn't care and just looked around. It wasn't like he was going to lose a piece of meat. After breakfast, everyone gathered in the small square. They realized that the person who lectured them this time was Vice Manager Li of the Quenching Fire Workshop. Vice Manager Li's gaze lingered on the weak Yun Chujio for a moment before he said, Manager Bai has been executed by the Dock Lord for colluding with the Divine Devil Hall. Before the new manager arrives, I will take charge of the matters of the Quenching Fire Workshop. The crowd couldn't care less about the rules and immediately exclaimed, What? Manager Bai is dead? He colluded with the Divine Devil Hall? Ding Er's face immediately turned pale. Manager Bai is dead too? Manager, you harmed Chojio, he's dead. Chen Lu harmed Chojio, he's dead. Manager, by harmed Chojio, he's also dead. Doesn't this mean that anyone who provoked Chojio will die? Most importantly, even if they died, they would die in vain because in the eyes of others, they deserve to die. From this moment on, Ding no longer dared to harbor any ill intentions towards Yun Chujio, because she was certain that anyone who went against Yun Chujio would definitely die a terrible death. Ding was extremely glad that he had reminded Yun Chujio about the matter of the air hole. He had also firmly supported her as the team leader last night. If not for that, she probably would not have survived. Deputy Manager Li snorted coldly. Everyone immediately did not dare to speak anymore and shut their mouths. The change in manager has nothing to do with you candidates. Complete the task properly or you will be severely punished. As Deputy Manager Li spoke, his gaze fell on Yun Chujio again and asked, Chojio, you are standing at the very front of Team 9. Could it be that Team 9 has chosen you to be the team leader? Yun Chujio nodded. My sisters were very humble and tried to shirk the responsibility. I had no choice but to be the leader. The rest of Group 9 almost vomited blood. Humble? Shirk the responsibility? The last sentence was right. You are indeed shameless, even thicker than the city wall. The corner of Deputy Manager Li's mouth twitched slightly. Then, he said, the Dock Lord has instructed that your body has not fully recovered. Therefore, you are exempted from the 3-day mission. Go back and rest. Yun Chujio immediately said gratefully, Thank you for your understanding, Dock Master and Vice Manager Li. However, as the team leader, I should take the lead. Even if I can't pick ice, I have to accompany them to the ice surface. Whether it was Vice Manager Li or the others who heard Yun Chujio's words, they only had one thought in their hearts. This Chojio was an idiot, right? How could she not seize such a good opportunity? And she was asking for trouble? But the people in Group 9 knew the inside story. Chojio was afraid that they would not be able to enter the top 3, right? But even if she followed them, it would be useless. Deputy Manager Li gave a few perfunctory compliments, and then indicated that everyone could go to pick ice. Ding was very conscious of carrying Hei Shinjio. Even if Hei Shinjio pretended to say no, Ding would not let her go. Yun Chujio was well aware of her thoughts, so she did not expose them and was happy to enjoy her leisure. On the other side, after Altar Master Deng received Deputy Manager Li's report, he was even more satisfied with Yun Chujio. At first, he was worried that the little girl would be proud of her achievements, but he did not expect her to have such a sense of propriety. She was really a promising talent. Unfortunately, her aptitude was too poor. She was only at the 6th level of Spirit Extinguisher. Even if he wanted to help her, he might not be able to pass the test in the end. Chapter 5496. You can ask her for it. After Yun Chujio and the others arrived at the ice surface, Chen Shi from Group 10 walked up to Yun Chujio with a fake smile and said, Chojio, Chen Lu borrowed 10 pieces of hard ice from our Group 10. Shouldn't your Group 9 return them to us? The people from Group 9 immediately understood that Chen Shi was planning to settle the score later. Previously, Chen Lu was the one who held the fort in Group 9, so Chen Shi did not dare to do anything. Now that their group leader had become the weak Chojio, Chen Shi would naturally come to pick on the soft persimmon. Shen Wu and Wei Ba looked at Yun Chujio worriedly. The others were gloating and wanted to see how Yun Chujio would respond. Only Dinger looked at Chen Shi with pity. This Chen Shi was really courting death. She actually dared to provoke Chojio, this malignant star. She probably did not even know how she died in the end. Perhaps Ding Er's gaze was too obvious. Chen Shi subconsciously turned her head and happened to see Ding Er's gaze. She frowned. Was this Dinger an idiot? Why did he look at her with such a strange gaze? At this moment, Yun Chujio said nonchalantly, Your request isn't excessive. You should have returned what you borrowed. Chen Shi immediately threw Ding Er's gaze to the side with a smug look on her face. This Chojio really didn't dare to go against her. In the future, she could get more benefits from Group 9. The people from Group 9 were furious. Chojio actually agreed to it? A person like her was not worthy to be their group leader. However, she could only be the group leader for the day because it was impossible for them to enter the top 3. Chen Shi said proudly, "Since you've agreed, I'll come over to retrieve the 10 pieces of hard ice when you mine them later." Yun Chujio laughed lightly. "Chen Shi, you've misunderstood my meaning. Since Chen Lu was the one who borrowed the hard ice from you, then you should go and ask her for it. Here, it's the ventilation hole in front. You can jump in and find her." Chen Shi, Ding laughed heartily and echoed, "That's right. Go and ask Chen Lu for it. She'll definitely give you interest." After saying that, she looked at Yun Chujio with a fawning look. Seeing Yun Chujio smirk at her, Ding immediately felt that his life was a little safer. The rest of Group 9 also echoed. Although they wanted to bring Yun Chujio down, they still had to face the outside world together at this time. Chen Shi was very angry and said angrily, "Good, very good. Chojio, let's wait and see." "Wait and see? Even if we wait and see, our team leader is not afraid of you." Ding stretched his neck and shouted. Chen Shi glared fiercely at Ding and then left with a gloomy expression. Wei Ba frowned. "Chojio, Chen Shi will definitely take revenge. You have to be more careful." Yun Chujio raised her eyebrows. "I'm actually afraid that she won't take revenge. Alright, from now on, all of you will address me as team leader. Whoever calls me Chojio again, itchy." Wei Ba. "Yes, team leader." The rest of Team 9 curled their lips. They didn't expect Chojio to be so arrogant. Unfortunately, the team leader would be replaced tonight. Just as everyone was about to scatter and find a suitable place to pick ice, Yun Chujio said, "Wait a moment. You will change from 3 to 2 and stand in the position I told you." Everyone did not understand, but now that Yun Chujio was the group leader, they could only listen to her arrangements. After everyone stood in the position that Yun Chujio specified, Yun Chujio nodded with satisfaction. "Let's start now." Yu Chi grumbled unhappily, "Isn't 3 people in a group good? Why do we have to change to 2 people in a group? And why are we so close to each other? We really have nothing to do." You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.